What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks. JSU is off, having so much fun, getting ready to spend all that money he won this year on some New Year's festivities, but he'll be back with us next week. But Tyler's here with us. And hey, we were quick and efficient. And you know, it was cool yesterday, Tyler. Quick show. We gave the people the information, but most importantly, we gave the winners. So how did it feel to be cashing all those tickets last night?
I felt good. Just like I said yesterday, you don't got to overthink these things, spread. All these G League players in, all the scorers are out with COVID. Just bet the unders. That New York game didn't even touch 200. I believe it ended 94-81. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the same setup in the Clippers.
Did New York only score like 4 points in 7 minutes at one point?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was an ugly basketball game. I'll tell you that much. And then
Go ahead.
Clippers Boston was the same way. I mean, I know Boston shot terribly from three, but still
4 of 42,
91-82. They didn't crack 200 either. So
yeah, I would have swept the day.
Way to target these games, spread big long injury report. Just give me the under.
Yeah, I would have swept the day too. Boston obviously let me down, but I mean, it was almost funny. I was joking with my buddies. It looked like us playing pickup, right, where everyone thinks they're Steph, but we haven't played for like 5 years, and we're just clanking them off the rim. I mean, they were, and it wasn't like, they were forcing these shots. Obviously, some of them weren't good, but I mean, they were missing wide open shots here. I want to talk to you about what you said about don't overthink it. So I was kind of thinking about this morning the same way. I feel like in certain times, and we'll get into this a little bit later. So one of the reasons we always like taking the dogs in the NFL and in the NBA is we say these are all professionals, right? Like even the worst team, is one of the 450 best players in the world. Right? It's still comprised of all these players. That's just not the case anymore. And I feel like, we're getting a college level talent disparity in some of these games, and I think we'll talk about them one tonight, in the Bucks and the Magic, where the Bucks are the defending NBA champions and the Magic, right? Got a bunch of G League guys out there and a bunch of rookies that, will probably end up being good players. But right now at age 19 and 20, they simply are not. So that was just my thoughts on why maybe I'm coming up on a lot of the favorite sides way more than usual this season. Did you have any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree with everything you said. And then just basically, I mean, you basically hit everything on the head. I can't even add nothing to that.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just what I was thinking.
I'm trying to think of something to add. I got nothing.
I mean, and obviously a lot of this is tough because I'm manually adjusting for players. I mean, normally the players don't get in and out of the lineup so much. So I feel like it's easy for me to go, okay, Tobias Harris is worth 0.75. Joel Embiid's worth 3.5, right? Steph Curry's worth 6, right? Draymond's worth 3.5, right? But when you're doing these clusters, it's so hard to tell how much these guys are really worth. And I'm just coming up on the favorites way more than usual. So let's check in with the chat real quick, right? Always fun to do a good NBA rundown with a good group of guys. Eric Chang in here. What's up, Eric? Huntley for MVP, and he's got a little prop that I've asked him to drop in the chat a little later. We're going to disagree here. He says the Sixers are beating the Nets. That'll be the first one we talk about. Diesel enjoyed the picks last night with all the money emojis. Kevin Clunan brings up a good point. Grizzlies didn't shoot very well either. No, they did not, and they still got the win. And that was one where, everyone jokes that CLV doesn't matter anymore. CLV actually mattered there. And Tyler, that was just kind of for fun. Me being a Kings fan, fade the Lakers. I put them in a money line parlay with the Jazz, and I was a little worried there in the third quarter. But boy, actually, let's talk about that real quick. Oh, you didn't see that one. You were at work, huh?
Yeah, I was at work. I didn't catch the end of that one.
Yeah, and I actually missed the end too because I was getting I had to have everything delivered right now because I had that little health and safety protocols deal. And I had a delivery towards the end, and I came back and the Grizz were ahead and they closed it out. But I couldn't really tell. So anyone in the chat who did watch it, I mean, how did you guys rate that? Did the Grizzlies win that game, or did the Lakers get tired and fall apart at the end? Because I wasn't, I missed it. And then actually I had it on to rewatch it this morning, and I was writing it. It didn't really keep my attention. So people in there, let's see. Huntley says Grizzlies had a bad game when it comes to passing the ball. Not many assists. Yeah. Let's talk about this one right now.
Again.
Yeah. But it's so weird how we love these guys, right, though, that are ball pounders just because they make the just incredible plays. And then, like I said, you can't really get mad when like Eric says, John went and took that game. Huntley says the Lakers blew it.
He put up 41 last night. So,
yeah, I know.
I mean, pound the ball if you want, if you're going to do that and win the game. So,
and on DFS, I used AP's core, but I said, I'll switch Jaylen Brown for John Morant so I can run Bledsoe and Pritchard. Boy, was that a mistake loading up on the Celtics game. Oh, some news. Dinwiddie's out. Wow.
Yeah, I see COVID protocols. What a surprise.
I mean, who else? I mean, the good thing is by the time February gets here, the whole league will have had it, and we won't have to deal with this anymore. So, at first I was worried that this was going to happen in the playoffs, but after all 450 players have been in protocols at one point in the season, maybe we'll just be able to move on. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Let's break down the games. Tyler, Philadelphia 76ers plus 5.5, heading to Brooklyn to take on the Nets minus 5.5. The total 222. Tyler, this was like 214, 215 last night. It's gone up 7 points. Why do you think the total's gone so high? And then let's just break down the matchup.
Which game did we start off with? Philly?
Yeah, I got Philly plus 5.5 on my book.
Okay, yeah. I think that number moved up with the Kevin Durant news. And then the other guys coming off the injury report. You also have Drummond back for Philly. You'll still have maybe no Shake Milton, no Danny Green, no Tyler Johnson. So, I mean, pretty much full strength on both sides, minus a couple little guys.
What do you think of this real quick? Huntley for MVP also points out Doc Rivers won't be coaching.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
So here, let me jump in and push back on that real quick because I've heard that from multiple people this morning. I think we oftentimes only judge coaches on their in-game decision-making, right? And hey, if we're only doing that, there's plenty to criticize on Doc. But have you ever seen how much he's really liked by the players? And not even his own players, opposing players. And if you've heard him speak about some of the social issues that the NBA does like to embrace, I feel that he's one of the more eloquent people who tries to basically take up for that cause. And if I were to choose someone, right, to exemplify what they're really trying to say, I think he does it a lot better. I think some of the other guys can come off as clunky and heavy-handed last time. I think Doc brings a lot of nuance to it. I think he's really popular with his team. I don't necessarily think that downgrades him, right? D'Antoni's not on the bench for him anymore, right? Oh, wait, he was on the Nets. Who did they have? Do they have Jaeger? Who's going to end up running that team?
I think it's Jaeger. I believe you're right.
Okay, well, never mind. He might be an upgrade. Dave Jaeger is a stud. I'm a big fan of him from his time here on the Kings. So, hey, you know what? I take all it back. That's actually an upgrade for the 76ers. Let's continue. How do you feel about the matchup on the court?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the game, I mean, of course, it's going to be that game where KD's going to have his advantages, and there's going to be not a soul to guard Embiid. So I'm going to go rate the Embiid's points prop over 27.5. He's put up in his last 5 games 36, 36, 23, 41, 32. Now he draws a weak front court where he's just going to be able to dominate. I think we'll see him put up 30 plus again. And as for the side, small lean to Brooklyn, but probably not going to play the side. And I kind of like the under here. I could see this being a grit and grind game. They're going to try and beat them up down low.
I think there's a good chance it lands in between the line movement. The line movement might be a little too much here. Let me talk about something that you said, and we'll jump in here. Revenge season and Embiid monster game incoming, and he took the over 40. Fila loves it. Philadelphia. Over 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I want to talk about that real quick, Tyler. So I'm on the Brooklyn side here, right? I like Brooklyn here. And we've had the same handicap before. It is going to be Embiid. He's going to have a monster night. But can he do it for what is he going to need to go? 40 minutes? Well, so let's look at these minutes when he's not on the court. I think there are going to be problems where Brooklyn has the ability to stagger Durant and Harden. And I think that, every dark cloud is a silver lining. I mean, that's like a phrase or something, right? I think that's apt here because Durant being out allowed Harden to kind of move into that Houston role. And we know the guy's basically playing himself in shape, right? The guy's not getting up at 6 a.m., running wind sprints up a hill, right? He's going to bed around at 6 a.m. after drinking some champagne, right? So the guy plays himself into shape. I think it was a great opportunity for him to not only get back in shape, be the guy like he was in Houston, but just get the monster reps, right? And we saw him tie out towards the end of both games, especially the Lakers game. Was Harden getting tired, or was it just the Lakers are that much better with Westbrook off the floor? You can argue that, but I think the net remains that the Nets did better with Harden getting those extra reps. So I think that will be a big boon for the team here. But let's say you're against me here, right? Let's say you say spread. I'm not taking the Nets here. I'm grabbing the 5.5 with Philadelphia. I'd say, okay, that's fine, right? I don't love this selection here. I think it's actually a very good line. It's very close to what my numbers get. So let's say you do like Philadelphia. I think you're much safer just taking the Embiid props, because how do they cover if he doesn't have a good game, right?
Yeah, you're going to have a big game for him to cover. Unless you get one of those weird situations where like Harris goes off, Maxey goes off, KD doesn't do much, and Harden's just kind of there.
Do you really think they're going to be able to shut down KD though?
I don't think so.
I don't either. If you were to tell me you wanted to go under on Harden props, I'd say that's fine, because they have so much ability, right, to slow down perimeter players. I like KD's matchup a lot better.
He was in protocols, right? That's what he's coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't had the whole conditioning phase, which my guess means he was just asymptomatic.
Right.
Tested positive. He's fine.
Right.
For some of these guys, you see they have to condition on their way back in. So that's my only worry there, is he steps back on like nothing happened.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. I think he's going to, personally. As someone who's fairly asymptomatic myself fighting these things right now, you feel it a little bit, but I mean, I've still been able to work out and stuff too while I'm quarantining. So I could see them doing that. What do you think of this thought? Eric Cheng says, I can't wait to fade the Nets the first few Kyrie games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. We talked about it before. The guys that pound the ball and they want to play ISO ball, and they come back and play for a team. They kind of throw a wrench into the whole gear of the offense. So that'll be a spot I'm looking at too.
You know, it's funny though. I think that Kyrie is another one of those guys, like we talked about Doc earlier, where we don't really like him here, right, as the fans and the media, but the other players love him.
I like him as a player, but like some of the stuff he does off the court.
Yeah, but the other players don't seem to mind that. I think they think it's cool and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of their guys speaking their mind and not just falling right in line. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, this is our guy.
All right, Tyler, let me get your thoughts on a couple of these props from the chat. Our guy Huntley's back. Seth Curry over 3.5 assists, 114. He thinks it's a great prop. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't target many Seth Curry assist prop just due to him being a shooter more than the point guard, and Maxey handles the ball more. But I don't hate that number. It's a short number on assists for a guard.
And he's been taking over a lot of the point guard duties there and bringing the ball up the court a lot more than usual. And they're running Maxey off the ball as, the shooting guard style guy when they're setting up the half court offense. I actually don't hate that either, because you look at Maxey and his ability to cut off the ball. And that's, I think, a lot of these young players, that's what they need to do. They're so good at each level. They're just able to be ball dominant and do well. But I think, once you start to learn to cut, right, work within the offense, and this is where, the old timers will get mad, because most of the players had these skills developed in high school and college, and not just being able to just go out and ball out and just dominate. The coaches wouldn't let them. They forced them to develop these skills. Now these guys are learning the skills in the NBA, but I see that coming with Maxey as well. So I actually, we talked about Doc earlier. I like what he's doing there. Kind of making Maxey a more versatile player. Let's talk about Eric Cheng's prop. Tobias over 29.5 points, rebounds, assists. Looks intriguing. What do you think, Tyler?
It's a kind of short number. I can't bet any Tobias Harris props after what he did to me last year. He screwed me like 3 times last year, needing like a point. And I watched him miss 2 free throws to end the game. Needed him to get 1 rebound with 3 quarters left. He couldn't give me that. So I steered clear of Tobias Harris props.
So, Eric, if you're a Sixers fan, right, you want this prop to hit tonight. Let's look at what happened, right? So when Ben Simmons, all this drama happened, right? What do we all think when we were doing the preseason previews, Tyler, right? We said, well, Tobias is going to step in, right? He's a great player. A lot of the reasons he doesn't put up the numbers is because of the usage. Now the usage is there, and he just hasn't done it. It's just weird, too. Doesn't he look kind of lethargic on the court? Like, I don't see him like.
It's almost like he's overpaid.
Well, we know he's overpaid, but.
We expect more out of him because they consider him a max player when he's not that good. If he was getting $12 million, we'd be like, oh, this guy's great.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah. And that was a mistake they made. I mean, looking back, rolling with Harris and not Butler might have cost them a title, maybe. You know?
I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast. They were doing a draft of all the worst contracts in the NBA.
I saw that one. I didn't hear it, right? But someone on Reddit actually printed out the whole transcript. So I actually read it rather than listening to it. But go ahead. I thought it was quite interesting.
I know the one name you were probably like, that shouldn't be on there, but then he broke it down. It's like, that kind of makes sense when he brought up Klay Thompson.
Yeah. So the two hot takes were Klay Thompson and what was the other one? There's another one that's like a really good player that I was like, I don't know.
He's going to get, whoever it is, he's getting backloaded. I think it might be Jimmy Butler. He's getting like
it was
$60
Butler.
million.
I'm like, it's like, who cares? Who cares? Because you have this window right now, you know. To me, the guys that are bad are like this Tobias, where you're getting 11 points a game for a max slot, right? I mean, Butler is arguably the best player on the floor, like in half the games that he plays. So I disagreed with that one. I disagreed with Klay too. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I get why he brings it up though. You give him a 5-year, $200 million contract. It's really a 3-year, $200 million contract. Because the first 2 years he hasn't played, so it's like,
no, I'll give you that. But
he better put up Michael Jordan numbers in these 3 years to make that $200 million look good.
I mean, he's already given the team 3 chips, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be pretty happy, right? As a Kings fan, I just want a playoff experience. So yeah, I disagreed with both those, but they were spot on a lot, and I thought they did a good job of calling out some of the players. I disagreed with the Butler, but some of the other ones. So maybe if we have more time, we can do something on that. And just go through that and go player by player. Let's go back to this game real quick. Kevin Clunan wants to know, what is the number you have for Embiid right now? He wants to know if you have 26.5, because Huntley says that FanDuel has moved it up to 27.5. And let's be honest, who's betting this under?
Yeah, I've seen 27.5 on FanDuel. I'll pull up DraftKings now and see if they have the same number. My guess is, though, it's going to be 26.5 or 27. You're not going to find like 23.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be 26. Maybe 25 at opener, but even then, it's like you said, he's gone over 30, 5 out of his last 6 games? Yeah. Kevin, if you want to let everyone know where you found that, I'm sure.
Yeah, 26.5 on DraftKings minus 120.
Yeah, and I bet you he's going to be spent up in a lot of these core lineups when we're watching the Hardwood Live and the final countdown later. Today, brought to you by RunPureSports.com. Remember, if you're not already a member, head on over to Run Pure Sports. Use the promo code GETBETS to become a member. What do you think about Huntley saying Tobias had the triple-double last game? You think he brings it back?
I mean, possibility, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. And Diesel went ahead for the worst contracts. Took the easy one, right? John Wall.
They don't even worry about trying to.
They had 2 words. They're like, he doesn't even play.
You just go home. Yeah. Like, just go home. We'll just pay you. Like,
he said, so it's a local 26.5. Yeah, Ace or Falcon skin probably. Minus 125 is about right. I'd rather have 27.5 minus 110, just on the idea that I love the minus 110 so much more. Because if he doesn't get there, really, I think it's because he gets hurt, right?
Yeah.
He twists that knee right in the beginning of the game or something. But, just because of that. Wow, Mr. New to Town. And we're going to ask you about Pittsburgh's chances in the bowl game later, Twatty, if you're around in the chat, so be ready for that. He says, I would rather go on a date with Popeye Jones than bet the NBA. And this is from a man who has a lot of dates.
Judging by when you're on the outside looking in and you see the roster spread, I mean, you're probably going to think the same way.
I think it's because I spend all day doing it, right? Like I write articles about it. I write up, copyrights for it. I go over every single game, so but I can understand. I mean, if I was still working at UPS, I'd probably feel the same way, right? If I was doing my UPS stuff all day and then getting home and trying to make sense of it, in the 15 minutes before tip off or
you're like trying to figure out who half the team is.
Yeah. Like literally, like when I worked at UPS, I would just run my model in the morning. If I love something, I bet it then. Otherwise, I go to work and just think about it, maybe talk to some other people who knew their basketball, right? And then place it during the day. And that was it, right? I mean, now you have to like sit in front of your computer, have notifications on, talk to college people who handicap college basketball to get scouting reports. I mean, it's just been wild. So I hope you enjoy that date with Popeye. But Twatty, you're a good-looking guy. You can get some olive oil action in there too. Tyler, 20 minutes on one game. JSU would be proud. You're doing well. Filling in for him today, the Cleveland Cavaliers, +2.5 heading to Washington to take on the Wizards. This game was 3.5 earlier. Cleveland took money, and I think it's because in the chat, who put that in there for us? White Nose 305. Spencer Dinwiddie now ruled out. How do you think that affects the game, Tyler? I liked Washington here. I really want to go with Cleveland. Cleveland, the best team against the spread this season, but Darius Garland's already out. We talked about it on the show, and then it was confirmed. I said those non-contact injuries are rough. Rubio's, I think, out for the season. He's at least out for a long time.
No Garland. He's done.
Yeah, no Garland, no Rubio. Sexton's is already gone. Who's playing point guard? I got to pull up DraftKings to find out.
That's where I was going with this handicap. I mean, just looking at their box score from last game,
mm-hmm.
Rubio played 37 minutes. Okoro at shooting guard played 31. Valentine played 24 minutes off the bench, and Justin Anderson played 14. A guy with the last name Pangos played 9 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is a big man.
All right, so I'm just going off DraftKings now, and it's just so wild that I have to do this just to figure out these rosters. So the 4 point guards listed for Cleveland: Kevin Pangos, who you mentioned, who probably, I wonder if he gets to start. Kyle Guy.
Kyle Guy probably gets to start.
So he hasn't played a minute of NBA this year, but you know him from college, right?
He was one of the Virginia kids.
What did you think of him at Virginia?
I mean, I hated that team as a whole because they were the team that would beat you by scoring 50 points and holding you to like 30.
Mm-hmm.
They were real defensive and they could shoot three. So, I mean, he might be able to play pretty decent in the NBA.
All right. They have RJ Nembhard, who's played 16 NBA minutes in his career. Do you know him from college? I don't know him.
What was the name?
RJ Nembhard.
No.
Me neither. And the last one is Malik Newman. I don't know.
I've heard that name. I can't remember where he went to school at.
Yeah, I should be pulling up somewhere where I actually know the schools, but I'll be honest, I don't watch college ball, so it doesn't really help me. At shooting guard, they have Okoro, Dylan Windler. I mean, do you think that he takes the majority of the ball handling duties?
I think he could. I could see them also just having just random guys bring it up and they just give it off to Mobley and he sets up the offense. And
I'll be honest, Tyler, the only thing I know about Dylan Windler is there was like a couple times when this happened where they would be on the Hardwood show and they'd be going, Dylan Windler season. But the idea was that he was 3K and he was going to get 30 minutes, right? And that's usually like, not like a auto play in DFS, but, you have to consider them when they're getting that many minutes at that price. But I haven't watched him play that much. I mean, the guy averages 10 minutes per game. I haven't really seen him play that much, I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't been scouting Dylan Windler when I've been watching the Cavaliers. Usually when they're on my TV, I've been impressed by Allen and Mobley. And then I go, oh, Lauri Markkanen's actually sneakily not that bad. Of course, Garland's been playing so much point. I don't know a lot about Dylan Windler. If he were to run the team, how do you think that would go?
I mean, it might not go terribly, but it's going to be a lot worse than the guys they had out there. So I think the spot in the game's already gone. It was 213.5. But I'm still taking it at 210, even though it's 3 points down. Give me the under here.
Yeah, 209.5 on the offshore. All right, You're on the air. So, okay, what if I want to be super square and I just want to play the Wizards here? Talk to me why you think that that's not a good move, or just say go ahead and I'll bet it right now.
Who's stopping Mobley on the outside?
Okay, see, you made a good argument because I have no Montrezl Harrell, no Spencer Dinwiddie, no Alan Hade, no Holland Neto. Rui Hachimura hasn't even played yet this season.
No, so, he was getting ready to come back, and then he got put into COVID protocols.
Okay. But I do have KCP. Bertans, boy, he was on that bad contract list, huh? Was he number one?
Yeah, he was up there.
Because he had that 140% year, right? Right before his contract year, he was shooting 40-something% from three. And I don't think he's been above 35% the last 2 seasons, making $18 million a year or something. So, all right, he's terrible on defense, too. What's your question now? Who's stopping Mobley?
Who's stopping Evan Mobley down low?
So I don't think Kyle Kuzma is going to answer. Daniel Gafford? I mean, he's not that bad defensively, right? How do you think that works out?
I don't think he'll be able to stop him. He maybe limits him, but yeah, I think he's going to have his way tonight.
All right, I'll stay off that game then. Eric agrees with you. He says, laughing my ass off. Kyle Kuzma and Davis Bertans are going to be guarding Mobley.
I mean, he's plus 150 to get a double-double tonight. Jared Allen's not playing.
He isn't? I thought he was questionable.
No, he's out.
He's out now. He was questionable when I did this game this morning at 8 a.m. my time.
Yeah, they got to get – he's one of the guys that has to do the conditioning.
Under 204.05 for an alternate line. I mean, how low do you think this goes, Tyler?
I mean, this could be one you can get. I'd maybe go down to 201.5 and it doesn't break 200. This could be another game where it's like 90-something to 80-something at the end.
Huntley wants to know who's going to stop Kevin Love. I love these 2017
These big men
questions.
for Cleveland are going to still be a problem spread. It's just going to be how much offense can they generate with no guard play.
And I mean, Beal, if he's back, should have a pretty big night, right?
Yeah, but I see he's also with the COVID protocols. Is he going to have to go through conditioning, or is he just another asymptomatic guy?
So
he's been on this list for a while, hasn't he?
And he also wasn't vaccinated, which means to me,
he's
would indicate
probably
to
sick.
me that he probably had more symptoms than, say, the people who've been through it all. Okay. All right. I'm going to stay away from that game. Under 209 is probably the best look there. And did you decide, do you want to do that Mobley double-double, or are we worried about the rebounds?
No, I'm not worried about the rebounds. Not without Allen out there. I mean, his rebounds prop is set at 8.5. So
this is a good day for some props, Tyler. I really like that Embiid then, and I think you're making a good case for Evan Mobley as well. I'm going to start putting some of these in. I like Bet Online there, and I'm going to have $2 up during the show. Guys, if I get confused, you know why. The next game, the Milwaukee Bucks minus 14, heading to Orlando to take on the Magic. They won by 17 the last game. Could have been a lot more. We talked about it on Tuesday. You're probably just betting on the backups here, right? So can the Bucks backups beat the Magic's best team in the fourth quarter? Because they're probably up by 20 going in there. They're probably not going to care in the fourth. I'm not going to take the Magic. I mean, Franz Wagner had 37, 8, and 7 or something, right? And they still lost by 17. So it's like, what could possibly change? Now, I saw that there are a couple players back, right? Well, they're not listing here because, of course, I went to fantasy basketball. And, of course, it's telling me out who's not in. Who are the couple players that came back? Let me pull it up on DraftKings to try and figure out.
On which side?
On the Magic side, I think they got a couple back. So Wendell Carter played the last game. Oh, Mo Bamba, he didn't play the last game, did he?
No, I believe he's back now.
Okay, so
yeah,
that actually helps a little bit.
Out on Basketball Monster.
Oh, okay, he's on DraftKings here. Terrence Ross was the other one that could come back. I mean, does that change? Is he worth 3 points?
No, I mean, I don't think the spread really changes here much, and it's the same thing as that Phoenix game yesterday spread. Not looking to lay it with the heavy favorite, but would I be surprised if they blow them out? No.
I'm going to go back. I have my eyes on that. Didn't Oklahoma City end up covering that, or did they?
No, they lost by 16 or 17 points.
Oh, but they looked like they were going to cover for like 40 of the 48 minutes, right?
Yeah, and then they finally just gave up at the end.
Yeah, and they lost 30-16 in the fourth. Man, that's why I hate those double-digit spreads. I actually like them a lot better in the NFL, right, where there's less superfluous scoring. So,
okay, so they won't have Terrence Ross or Mo Bamba tonight. I see both of them downgraded to out Thursday versus.
Then it's
Milwaukee.
the exact same game. Like, how do you take the Magic here? You're just being contrarian, and you're just.
I mean,
it's like I said earlier.
I know both teams shot a very good percentage last game, and they got close to 240, 237.
Yeah.
I mean, Milwaukee's last couple games, they put up 127 against Orlando, 117 against Boston, 102 against Dallas, 126 against Houston.
Yeah.
If they break 115 points here spread, this game's going over.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be my look in this game. Just give me the over.
I don't hate
because the Bucks are going to pound it on them, and I think they'll get above that 115 mark. Orlando gets you into 100. They're going to cross that total. So give me the over.
All right. Eric Cheng wants to know about a prop here. This is interesting. We're actually attacking unders here. So I'm definitely encouraged by that. Wendell Carter under 1.5 threes. Tyler, you'll probably have to look that up.
That's what I'm doing right now. I was like, I just want to see your box score and see how
we want to bet the attempts there, right? If he's getting over 3 to 4 attempts a night, I think it's worth it. I don't know how many attempts.
No, I like that. I like that look. 2
How
for
many
7.
has he been shooting?
He was 2 for 7 last game. Then he was 1 for 3, 1 for 3, 0 for 1, 1 for 4, 2 for 6, 0 for 1, 1 for 3, 2 for 4.
So he's only hit it like 3 in the last 11 games.
Yeah, give me the under there. I like that look.
Huntley giving me the correct correction. Wagner had 38, not 37. So thank you for that. What's up? Perfect rotation. One of the best avatars on twitter.com. Tyler, let's go to the last game. Boy, this line's moved too. This is the same that it was in Golden State now. -6.5 for the Golden State Warriors heading to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Now, I know they're missing Michael Malone. What else must have been happening here? So Moses Moody's back for the Warriors. Draymond Green's still out. He means a lot to this team. Damian Lee's still out. Klay Thompson, one of the worst contracts in the league, according to Bill Simmons. I disagree there. Still out. Jordan Poole will be back. It's a big boost for the Warriors actually having Poole back. On the Denver side, Monty Morris is questionable. Vlatko Konkar is questionable. Austin Rivers is questionable. Aaron Gordon's questionable. Bones Highland out for sure. Bol is playing. I don't even know what that means. And Zeke Naji is back. Tyler, I get worried when I see Morris and Rivers here because, boy, we talked about the lack of point guard in Cleveland. Getting to be a similar situation there in Denver. How are you approaching this game? I mean, you'd say, well, Denver just beat them a couple nights ago, and it was really on the strength of Jokic. Weird game, though, right? Did you watch it, Tyler? So I know I'm texting you guys because I had Denver on the sheet for everyone at runpurebets.com. Head on over to Run Pure Bets, become a member using the promo code BETS25 off. Had it on the sheet there. And at first half, right, I'm kicking my feet up, eating a little trail mix, like, oh, easy win, right? They almost came back and blew it. They only scored 24 points in the whole second half, Tyler. Did the Golden State carry some of that momentum? I personally couldn't even believe it. It was just like, what is going on?
Looking at this one spread, I'm going to go with my same model I've went with for the past few days. Don't overthink it. Would you say yesterday when this game hit with Denver winning outright, Draymond means a lot to this team, means a lot to the defensive end? He's not here again. They're back in Denver with the altitude. You're going to give me the same number. Give me Denver again.
Okay. I could see that. I think it's Denver or no play here. I don't want to lay it with the Warriors. So you'll have Campazzo at guard. And they're listing Morris. Morris would be huge for this team. You still have Will Barton there at shooting guard. Boy, not a lot there. You want Rivers in there a lot when you're making this bet.
He played last game and he held a questionable tag, so I think he'll play again.
Yeah. Aaron Gordon, I think, would be really helpful as well. JaMychal Green's going to play, and then some other guys I haven't seen. Bol. I mean, he's fun, but let's be honest, he's not really an NBA player. Yeah, and then Jokic. I mean, how do you not spend up for Jokic if you're making one of those things? All right, Tyler, I think you've talked me into it. I think I'm going to join you and take Denver plus 6.5. What do you think? Should we jump in on the money line?
I mean, I don't hate it. That's probably the way I'd approach it. Just get the plus money on the money line. I think they're going to win the game outright if they cover it. And just like you said, I just think Draymond means a lot more to this team than people are realizing yet. And we're going to still get them at a favorite on the road in Denver. Yeah, give me Denver here.
All right, going with the home dog. I agree with you there. Cool. So I don't have the squarest card in history because I like the 3 favorites in the first game. Glad to finally find an underdog to back. Totals 214. Any thoughts there?
Small lean to the under, but not big on that total. We'd rather play the side in that one.
Huntley says Jeff Green's out, but Jeff Green's on Brooklyn, right? I'm talking about JaMychal Green on this team, right? Or do I have that wrong?
Jeff Green is on Denver, and he's out with COVID protocols.
How did I get that wrong? Excuse me. I need to know my greens a little better, Tyler. Maybe I need to head to a dispensary. Nuggets first half, Warriors second half. Hey, why not? Why not?
Halftime, full time.
Tyler, I'm pulling up some of those props because I got to bet the Embiid prop and the Mobley double-double here. Did you have any props that I should be looking for in this NBA game?
In this one, not really. I mean, maybe you play a Jokic prop, but it's just so hit or miss with how he wants to play these days. It's like sometimes he puts up 30 points and like 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Other games, he gives you a solid game across the board where he gives you like 20, 10, and 15. So pretty much just stay away for props in this game. I mean, maybe you play a Will Barton over 17.5 points, but that'd probably be my only look in this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. This is why I like the DFS shows. When it comes to props here, I think the players that they target would be the guys that I would just go for, right? Because they're so good with figuring out this usage. Basically, if they like a guy, especially a lot, I think I'm just going to go over on his PRA. Because that's how I've been kind of doing props, of course, as well as tailing yours. So I'm putting those in right now. While I do that, do you want to let me know what your best bets for the day are?
Yeah, my best bet for today is going to be the over in that Magic game and the under in the Cleveland game. I'm going to go 1 over, 1 under.
All right. Over in the Magic, under in Cleveland. Quick question. So I'm placing this Embiid right now. Do you like the points at over 27.5, or do you like the PRA at over 44?
I'd rather play the points.
Really? Because you don't think I'm just going to get a ton of rebounds?
You could, but you would really hate to get like 30 and 11, wouldn't you?
That's true. He's not a very good passer. All right, maybe I'll do a little bit of both. Maybe I'll do a full unit on the points and just like a quarter unit on the PRA. Right? Because they are somewhat correlated, right?
Yeah.
All right. My best bet of the day is going to be, gosh, I like the Wizards. I like the Nets. I don't really want to play the Bucks game, but you made a great case for that Nuggets game. Give me the Denver Nuggets plus 6.5.
Don't
Tyler.
overthink it.
Yeah, plus 6.5. How are we getting 6.5 at home? That's the line that really sticks out to me. Give me the hog with the MVP, the Denver Nuggets. Tyler, a lot of fun. Do we have lines up for tomorrow?
Here, I will double check.
Because, guys, we were going to do the 2 games that are on early tomorrow. But I don't think we have line. Yeah.
No, I don't see any yet.
I don't see any lines. Do you want to try and guess the line? What do you think the Suns Celtics will be?
Suns Celtics, probably Suns they're away, so I'd say by 7.
No way. I have Suns minus 3.5.
Well, how big is this injury report?
Let me look for tomorrow. Tatum's still
Thursday,
out.
right?
Well, that game will be Friday at
Okay.
All right, yeah, we'll see. That's why we couldn't do
my
this
guess
right
is
now.
7 spread because of no Tatum.
If they gave me 7, I would probably lose another bet with Boston again. I mean, I've lost a lot of bets on them. I keep saying they're going to turn around, and they're not.
Chicago minus 6
In Indiana.
Yeah,
has them about 9 points better. It seems steep, but let's be honest, it's correct. I think it'll be probably 7.5 or 8 there. But I think your 9 number is probably pretty close to correct. So that's another interesting one. No Lonzo still. So Caruso's on Basketball Monster, but I read that he's questionable. Duarte and Brogdon will both be out, though. So we have the idea of who's handling the ball there for Chicago. So sorry we couldn't do a more in-depth one on tomorrow, but that'll be a fun way to start the day tomorrow, right? It'll be the Pacers will actually be playing while we're doing the NBA rundown tomorrow. Maybe we can throw a live bet in the rundown, Tyler.
Yep.
Come with your game hat on. All right, guys. So thank you everybody for watching. Tyler and I are going to do a quick turnaround. I'm going to take the NBA shirt off, put on an NFL shirt. Get ready because we will be back. What time do you want to start, Tyler? I mean, that's the great thing about people having the notifications on. We can kind of just choose a time. Now, normally we go at 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what you have to do. Did you want to go earlier? Did you want to go a little later? You call it, Tyler. What time is the NFL rundown?
We'll back it up about 30 minutes from 5. We'll go 5:30. I'm going to go get some food. I'm kind of hungry.
All right, we're going to go at 2:30 p.m. You heard it from the man first. That will give you a chance to watch some Hardwood live, but we'll finish up before the final countdown so you can get all your Run Pure needs. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As I mentioned earlier, we do appreciate it when you subscribe. That way, when Tyler gets lunch, the show starts a little later than usual. You'll be notified when we go live. While you're there, please like the channel. And, hey, share with your friends, man. It was so much fun. You guys in the chat box, I think you really make the show better. Obviously, I do my best. All the moving parts, right? We miss stuff, right? Jeff Grange and Michael Green, right? I get it mixed up. You guys are there to help us out. And you brought some good questions today, especially on the individual props that I felt really added a lot of meat to the show and made it more in depth than it would have been, if we would have pre-recorded this. So share with your friends. We're going to get that chat box popping even more. Reminder, head on over to runpurebets.com. Use the promo code BETS25 off to become a member. We will be back soon. Run Pure.